I need to look at all the new stuff. Now let's bring in NBC's Kelly O'Donnell, who's in D.C. tonight. Kelly, this new video is the strongest that we've seen so far. Can you break down what it shows and what it means going forward?
Gotti, up until this point, we had had a really grainy piece of video that was
What else? Wow. On. Well. Let's see. And let's head over to NBC News senior national security correspondent Courtney Cubie in Washington. Courtney, great to see you. Let's start with Hegseth's testimony. What else went down there?
Yeah, so there was a lot of talk about the war in Iran. Now, there were some other issues there that won't get as much attention, like Hegseth's decisions about firing individual.
5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes. Wait, where did the time go? What the heck? Sorry, guys. Dude, I've just been here like a rude guy, just not even chatting with you guys. I'm so sorry. Yes. Look, oh, man. What's up, everybody? Hi, SML. What's up, Mr. North? Hello, Brian. Hello, Commander Spock. Hello, Joanne Kennedy. Mr. North? No, I didn't. Jose. I'm typing away, okay? My leg broken, but guess what? No boot today. Just what looks like a ankle monitor. Pretty cool, right? Senate oversight, yes. War powers. We're gonna be talking about war powers right at the top of the show. And no, I don't, Jose Hernandez. Great to see you. Paso con queso. Let's see. Can't wait. Oh, Dale Tobin's back. South Africa. How's it going? South Africa in the house. Guys, I'm so sorry. Seen this before, it just popped up. KDM. Oh. Hey, KDM. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you're still here. Hope you didn't bounce out after a few seconds. Let us tell you. What's up, Terrible Maddie? Hi, Impulse Weather. Okay, so KDM, here's what we're doing. This is a news show, a real news show, like a mainstream media news show. And I am a mainstream media journalist. And in about 3 minutes, you're gonna see this turn into what looks like the type of news show that you'll expect, except for no tie. We're in Los Angeles, California. Things are a little bit more laid back, at least right here on Universal Studios. So in just a bit, we're gonna see all the news of the day, and I'm working on this script and I'm trying to get through. Yeah, I think that works. We'll kind of get through it. But we're gonna be talking about a lot. We've got what we call the A block, which is all the big stories of the day. It is packed today. We've got the latest on the White House correspondent dinner shooter. Some new video just dropped there. We've got the latest on this school stabbing where there was a fight out of Tacoma, Washington, and 6 people, I believe, were hurt, including a bunch of students and a security guard. Then we are going to go to this continuation of the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, testifying on Capitol Hill about Pentagon's request for more money for the war, and also, is this a war? War powers, all the questions about authorization, congressional authorization. There's a deadline. That's 60 days. A lot of people are saying it was supposed to end tonight. The Trump administration is saying, wait, we've got a ceasefire that resets the clock. So it is a confusing time. Guess what else we have? Tonight, Sal Khan Academy. He is going to be joining us. I am very excited to talk to him. He is, you know, I don't know if you do know, like Khan Academy is a game changer and has been a game changer for quite some time. So he's got this very nuanced take on the future of education, on critical thinking, on all of the above. And it's not, you know, what you might think, because they use a lot of AI in their instruction. But that doesn't mean that, you know, the AI is the solution. So you'll want to pay attention to that. Ginny Empire State, hello, how's it going? Mo, Cape Cod, making us jealous over here. Impulse Weather, anytime. That's just like the pre-show. That is just a snippet. We got all of the context coming up for you in 1 minute, as Big Mike over there says. This is what it looks like here at Universal Studios. This is our studio. Usually I'm walking around a little bit more, but I broke my leg, actually my foot, and it hurts. So maybe in the next couple of days, I'll try to limp around a little. Not so much. Okay, 30 seconds? 30 seconds, yeah. I'm sorry, what was that? Okay, perfect. All right. That is our homie Sean right there. See this guy? See this? Okay, up here, this is New York. And that buff dude right in the middle, that is Sean. He was the one that was talking in my ear. He says we're going straight off the top, breaking. So here we go. You guys ready? Hey guys, it's Scotty Schwartz, and we start tonight with breaking news. The DOJ just dropped the clearest video yet of the moment the man accused of trying to assassinate the president burst through the magnetometers at the White House Correspondent Dinner over the weekend, and we're going to show it to you right now. You can see the suspect, Cole Allen, running past several federal agents who respond by firing at him. And as it slows down, you can actually see Secret Service officers shooting several times as he goes by. That's a muzzle flash right there. The video also shows Allen casing the area in the days before the attack at the Hilton Hotel. This is the day right before all that happened. The release comes just hours after Allen's detention hearing when he shocked the court by agreeing to stay in jail pending trial. That's what the government argued for, calling Allen a danger to the community, while Allen's lawyers fought for his release, saying he has no previous criminal record and works as a tutor here in California. Remember, prosecutors say the 31-year-old traveled to the White House Correspondents' Dinner with this shotgun, a pistol, 3 knives as part of an assassination plot, and that led to the gunfire outside the ballroom and the Secret Service evacuating the president there. Now let's bring in NBC's Kelly O'Donnell, who's in D.C. tonight. Kelly, this new video is the strongest that we've seen so far. Can you break down what it shows and what it means going forward?
Gotti, up until this point, we had had a really grainy piece of video that was publicly available. This is far more detailed and includes some of the security video from different places in the hotel. Part of what you see here is the day before the dinner, where the suspect, Cole Allen, 31 years old from California, is walking through some of the spaces in the corridors, perhaps orienting himself for where events would take place. You see he had put himself into the hotel by becoming a guest and booking a room for a couple of days. Then they also provide us with some video that is far more compelling and gripping, where you see Cole Allen moving through this scene here, running with the weapon. And what is different in that shot is that with this higher quality video, we're able to see as he runs through the magnetometer, those were being taken down because all the guests who had been screened for the dinner were already inside. He lifts that 12-gauge shotgun. Look here, lifts it to the direction of the uniformed Secret Service officer who is in the lower left of that screen. He is the one and only law enforcement person that we are aware of who discharged a weapon. He was hit by whatever projectile came out of the 12-gauge shotgun, according to authorities. See it again right there. And the officer was able, even being hit in the vest, to fire back 5 rounds just out. And now where you see they're running toward him, just a short distance away, he ran into, according to the Secret Service director, some of the equipment that they were disassembling there and fell down. The suspect fell with an injury to his knee. And that's when all of the agents, law enforcement, and officers jumped on him and subdued him. They then moved him to another location where you may have seen in recent days some photos where his shirt is off and he's covered with sort of a foil-looking blanket. They took off some of his clothing. The Secret Service director says he also had a protective vest on. That was the first time. That's the photo I'm referring to. They had stripped him down to make sure he didn't have any explosive device. The Secret Service director said today that he did have a protective vest, and they had moved him away from the area. This is not where the incident occurred. They'd moved him to another location. That's the image there. That is not where the interaction occurred, but they moved him there to remove the clothing, and of course he was subdued. Very notably today, the Secret Service director, Sean Curran, said that in his judgment, the security plan that had been prepared for the Washington Hilton, which has hosted the Correspondents' Dinner many times, he believes that worked just as it was intended to do, where there are rings of security that get closer and closer to the protectees, the president, the vice president, other dignitaries who were in the room, and that it worked. There was no one injured. Even with that discharged weapon, the protective vest of the officer kept him safe, and no one else was injured, which is remarkable. It was incredibly disruptive. It could have been very serious because we also saw that he had hollow point bullets. He had rounds for reloading, multiple weapons. A lot was also released with photos showing his hotel room and other material that they have now collected, and it's part of the evidence. And today I was in court when Cole Allen appeared for what is considered a detention hearing. His federally appointed, that's the scene this morning, his lawyers did not contest his remaining in custody. So no dealing with bail. He will be held indefinitely while he awaits trial. He is currently charged with a couple of charges that amount to attempted assassination of the president. We're told that they expect additional charges will be filed after they process all this evidence and go to a grand jury. Gotti?
Kelly O'Donnell, thank you so much. And some more breaking news to get to tonight out of Tacoma, Washington. Police say 6 people, 5 students and 1 security guard got hurt from this stabbing at a high school there. A suspect is in custody, and this is how one student described the scene.
They were all on the floor, and some of them were bleeding. One of them looked real injured. There's blood on the floor. The security guard, I think he got stabbed right in his forearm. And yeah, it was a lot going on. Because people were screaming, stabbing. Like, he was swinging hard, too. He was like this. He was like he got him against the wall, and he was,
Now let's bring in NBC's Liz Kreutz. Liz, what happened? What set this all off?
Yeah, so we don't know from officials what happened, but we have heard from some of the students who witnessed what happened or say that they maybe saw video of what happened, who have come out and talked to the reporters that showed up at the scene. And what students are saying is that this all began because of some kind of fight between the students that happened inside the school in the hallway during class time. According to officials, they responded to this incident around 1:30 p.m. local time. We know that 6 people were injured from this stabbing, 5 of them students, 1 of them a security guard. 4 people have serious or critical condition injuries, 2 have non-life-threatening injuries. 1 of the people that was injured was also the person that they're considering a suspect and is currently in custody while receiving medical care.
Yeah, I imagine so many students and their families are pretty shaken up after this, right? Well, what's the community saying?
Yeah, so the school went on lockdown. All the school students had to be evacuated. There was video showing students pouring out. Parents were posting on social media, of course, very worried and rushing to the scene to reunite with their kids. And I think right now there's a heavy police presence still there as they search the school and try to really figure out what happened and see if they can find this alleged video that some students say is out there actually showing video of the incident.
Yeah, we've heard rumors of that video circulating, and I'm sure, social media, so we'll see what happens next. Liz, thank you so much. Also tonight, this race against the clock. Just hours from now, this important deadline requiring congressional approval for military operations to continue in Iran. But does the White House see it that way? Well, the White House is arguing it all depends on the ceasefire, which is also a very big question mark tonight.
Really, nobody knows what the talks are except myself and a couple of other people. They want to make a deal badly. We have a problem because nobody knows for sure who the leaders are. It's a little bit of a problem. And Iran is dying to make a deal. I can only tell you that. I don't want to get into it, but they cannot be nuclear. Other than that.
Yeah, the uncertainty about what's next coming as gas prices continue to soar and as Americans from coast to coast are feeling a pinch at the pump, something Trump has promised will end as soon as the war is over.
The gas will go down. As soon as the war's over, it'll drop like a rock. There's so much of it. It's all over the place, sitting all over the oceans of the world. And it'll go down. But what won't happen is if Iran had a nuclear weapon and used it, then the whole world is a different place. You're not going to have to pay a little bit more for gasoline. The gasoline, the oil, will go down rapidly as soon as the war is over.
Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was back on Capitol Hill to justify the Pentagon's record budget request. This time he was grilled by senators, but just like his testimony to the House yesterday, at first he was met by protesters early on.
Warriors.
You're a war criminal. You should be arrested. What you're doing is despicable. The American people do not want to go to this war. We don't want to fight a war for any people. This is unacceptable.
And then eventually questions about the war in Iran dominated the day. Take a look at this back and forth with New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.
Iraq took how many years? Afghanistan took how many years? And they were nebulous missions that people went along with. This is different. This is a defined mission set that we have had great success in pursuing against a determined enemy who seeks nuclear weapons. And I'm proud of the opportunity to remind the American people, because they believe in it as well, that they can't have it.
You don't care whether
the American people
support this war.
The American people are quite smart. They understand and see through spin.
And let's head over to NBC News senior national security correspondent Courtney Cubie in Washington. Courtney, great to see you. Let's start with Hegseth's testimony. What else went down there?
Yeah, so there was a lot of talk about the war in Iran. Now, there were some other issues there that won't get as much attention, like Hegseth's decisions about firing individuals, general officers and flag officers. One of the senators there accusing him of specifically singling out people, men who are black and women, from promotion lists. There was also discussion about use of artificial intelligence and targeting. But at the end of the day, Gotti, it was Iran that really stole the show throughout the majority of this hearing today. Now, we did hear from Secretary Hegseth when he was questioned about specifics on the war in Iran, and he was very critical from the very beginning of any individuals who were not in support of this war, calling them feckless at one point and criticizing this primarily being Democrats who are against it.
The biggest adversary we face at this point are the reckless naysayers and defeatist words of congressional Democrats and some Republicans. Defeatists from the cheap seats who 2 months in seek to undermine the incredible efforts that have been undertaken.
In his opening statement, the Secretary of Defense came out swinging against Democrats, again, calling them feckless.
Meanwhile, the 60-day statute, what's going on there? And what does the law say about requiring authorization from Congress? Because, I mean, war powers is such a huge issue right now, right?
Yeah, and this has really gone back and forth. Okay, so there have been 6 votes. The most latest one was today, where the Congress has declined to enforce this War Powers Act. Now, basically what this is the law set in 1973 says that the president has to notify Congress when he takes some sort of an offensive military action, like we saw on February 28th when the U.S. began bombing in Iran. Now, there's a 48-hour window before the president has to formally notify Congress. That puts us to March 2nd. That means that the 60 days before the president has to request that the Congress essentially declare war, that ends tomorrow, that 60 days. But just late tonight, we have learned from a senior administration official and our colleague Monica Alba over at the White House that, in fact, the administration believes that 60-day timeline ended with the ceasefire, and there have not been any offensive combat operations since that ceasefire began. Of course, it was 2 weeks long. It was then extended. So they believe that clock has stopped. We heard from several administration officials and Republicans about this very issue here today. Here's what they said.
I don't call it a war. Would you rather have a military operation?
We are in a ceasefire right now, which our understanding means the 60-day clock pauses or stops in a ceasefire.
But the president has called it a war. You're saying we're not at war right now?
I'm saying that we do not have kinetic military action at the moment.
Now, Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat of Virginia, who was in that exchange with Secretary Hegseth, after he asked that question, and the secretary said, look, we believe that the ceasefire paused that timeline. Senator Kaine said, well, that's not our understanding of it. Gotti, I got to tell you, we've been poring through the law and reaching out to experts to see if this will hold up. And I don't really have a solid answer for you at this point, whether, in fact, it is legitimate to say that the ceasefire was the end of those 60 days. One of the biggest reasons that this is confusing is the blockade, the military blockade. While Operation Epic Fury, that is the U.S. military war in Iran, while it did pause for that ceasefire, it's not clear if it's going to restart. But during that time, there has been other U.S. military operation there, and in the name of that blockade, in the form of that blockade, and that has continued. But it appears at this point the administration is trying to separate those as 2 completely separate missions or operations.
It's gone from an excursion to war to now a war on what looks like semantics. NBC's Courtney Cubie in Washington. Courtney, thank you. And let's bring in Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis, host of the Daniel Davis Deep Dive. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being with us. This ceasefire, what impact has it had on military strategy? I mean, where is the United States right now in terms of offensive capabilities and positioning? And where is Iran today defensively compared to right before the ceasefire was announced?
Listen, what both sides have been doing just rapidly is to prepare for the next round. Everybody needed a pause in this, by the way. The Iranians did, the Israelis did, and we did, because we had fired so much ammunition. And of course, we built all this up before the war started. And once you've gone through 40 days of the substantial rate of fire that we had, you're going to have to replace it, because it's not like there's just unending stocks there. So we needed this pause in order to send reinforcements in, which we did. And according to several sources that I've talked to, we have more combat power, more ammunition on the ground now than we did at the start. So Iran has been doing exactly the same thing. They've been moving, and I just heard this from a source just right before we came on the air here, that Iran has been moving significant numbers of additional long-range one-way drones, these Shahed 136s, and they are stockpiling them, and they are ready. They moved a bunch of stuff. They repaired some of the damage that were done to some of their missile facilities, these underground bunkers. So everybody is, quote, locked and loaded if the word is given to restart. That's where we are right now. But I'm sorry, Gotti, I do want to say one thing here in terms of this war powers resolution. There is a massive, massive misunderstanding of what that law says. The implication being you can do whatever, the president can do whatever he wants for 60 days and then has to report. That is not the case. It is very crystal clear that you can only use those armed forces if there is a declaration of war, congressional authorization before, or we've been attacked. Only then does the 60-day reporting period come into play. It is not a blank check to do whatever you want, and I think that is being missed by too many people.
And yet, what we have seen is what we see today, right? There's what is written down, and there is what is put into motion with warships and with airstrikes. How do you reconcile what we're seeing with what you just described?
Yeah, that's crystal clear, too. There is no more rule of law when it comes to this. The Constitution itself is just as clear that the commander-in-chief can only use the armed forces once Congress has authorized it. Only then can he use it. And then the 1973 War Powers Act just made it more clarified and then added the piece that if we're attacked, then he can. So that's the only clarification that it made. It didn't change the Constitution, but we're following neither the Constitution nor the War Powers Act. And that is the real problem here. Basically, we as the Congress, regardless of which party you want to be talking about, has basically handed into the president or whoever opens that office the ability to use the military as he sees fit. And you see they're just playing with words now that, oh, well, the clock stopped with this ceasefire and now it's going to restart back again if something happens. They're just not following the law. They're doing whatever they want, and we got to call it what it is.
To complicate things even further, I mean, yesterday Trump, he revealed that he spoke with Putin for more than an hour. And here's what Chairman Kaine said about Putin earlier today.
And briefly, General Kaine, there's no question that Vladimir Putin's Russia is taking serious action to undermine our efforts for success in Iran. Is there any question about that?
Senator, I think there's actions and activities that are mindful of the hearing room we're in, but there's definitely some action there.
So does Putin change the calculus here?
No, I mean, that's been in the case for a long time. I've quite frankly been surprised at how mild the Russian reaction has been in their support, especially given how we have given unfettered support to Ukraine against Russia for, and now into the 5th year of that war there. I've been pretty surprised that they haven't done any more than they have, because what we can tell is that they've done some intelligence support, targeting support, and maybe some dual-use technology and other kinds of humanitarian supplies or something. We don't know for sure exactly what's going on, and General Kaine didn't talk about it there, but it seems, though, this call, though, came at the initiation of Putin, not at President Trump. And I think he's trying to say, listen, I see that you're in a lot of trouble here. Maybe we can get both of these wars over at the same time. I think that's what he's trying to do, is get Trump to say all these problems that are going can all be solved if both of the wars get off the table. And, of course, that would work to Russia's advantage.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Colonel Danny Davis, thank you so much. And here in California, the legal battle between Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and OpenAI continues. Today, Musk, who is suing OpenAI, at one point, he talked about how his new AI company used OpenAI models to build its products. I know, like, that it takes a second to process. Musk is saying that XAI, his AI company, used OpenAI, the company that he did help found in its development. And in this lawsuit, this is a lawsuit in which Musk is suing OpenAI for billions that he says that he would then give back to the nonprofit side of OpenAI. And then Sam Altman is forced out of the company in the process. This is one of the most topsy-turvy court cases I've ever seen. And to make things even more complicated, for the third straight day, lawyers for both sides got into a heated back and forth about whether AI could lead to the extinction of the human race. And that seems to be right at the core of Musk's case, even if the judge doesn't allow that line of questioning right now, because Musk is trying to show that his fight with OpenAI is about more than some business rivalry. They are arguing it's existential. Let's bring in David Ingram, our reporter who has been following this from inside the courtroom. David, your head must be spinning. Mine is spinning just from glancing at this as much as I can throughout the day. There was this argument between the Musk lawyer and the OpenAI lawyer before the judge stepped in, like yelled at them both to stop, right? Like we touched a bit on that in the intro, but I feel like that's something that, I don't know, everybody on earth should probably understand what happened. Like what was that fight about?
Yeah, everyone's interested in the killer robots and when they're going to be arriving exactly and how we're going to fight back. So this happened with the jury not present this morning. The lawyers were talking about an upcoming expert witness that Musk's side wants to call. This is an expert in AI, and Musk's lawyers want to be able to talk about this threat of human extinction. They think this will help their case, arguing that OpenAI was unlawfully converted to a for-profit. And they got back into a big shouting match, essentially, with the OpenAI lawyers. The judge, who is quite firm, told them, essentially shouted to stop. And she had quite a long sort of statement. And I'll read you a little bit of what she said in court this morning. She basically said that this trial is not about AI. And she said, it's ironic your client, meaning Musk, despite these risks, is creating a company, meaning XAI, that is in the exact space. There are some people who do not want to put the future of humanity in Mr. Musk's hands, but we're not going to get into that business. This is not a trial on the safety risks of artificial intelligence. We are not going to get sidetracked in this trial. So she said that Musk mentioned very briefly during his testimony the threat of extinction, and then she said, "That's it. We're not touching that subject again. Yeah. It's not what this trial is about."
And the theme, though, when you look at it, the big picture, it's the same. It's like, I'm suing you to help you, and I'm starting an AI company to save you from potentially AI. It is a very wild case. Musk testified for about 7 hours over the last 3 days. Is there a possibility that we're going to continue to hear from him? And I mean, how do you describe his demeanor on the stand?
Yeah, so Musk finished 7 hours of testimony, and the judge said that you're on standby and you could come back and give further testimony later in this trial. There was a lot that happened over 7 hours with Musk on the stand. His personality, I think, good and bad, came through. One of the big moments today was they were talking about an email from 2017. This is when OpenAI was still in its infancy, and Musk was still involved. He was co-chair, and they were throwing around what's called a cap table, which is essentially a document that lays out what the ownership stakes would be if OpenAI went for profit. And there was basically a debate here saying, look, Mr. Musk, if you feel like OpenAI really needed to be a nonprofit and remain a nonprofit, why were you participating in conversations in 2017 about an ownership stake? That doesn't really sound like something that someone would say if they were committed to the idea of a nonprofit. Musk really started to deflect questions on that, and he said that he wasn't involved, on this particular email they were talking about. He also said that they brainstormed a lot of ideas back in 2017 that never happened. So I think we'll hear about that discussion again.
Yeah, David Ingram, your reporting on this has been fascinating. Thank you so very much. And turning now to Louisiana, where there is an electoral engineering legal fight that has gotten so messy. Next month's U.S. House primaries will be delayed. And today's Louisiana's Secretary of State said House races would be suspended, and it all centers around a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that found the state's congressional map was an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. Now, it's happening right before early voting is set to start, and after absentee ballots, that voting has already started, and it's kicked off another firestorm over how to redraw the congressional maps there. Let's bring in Larry Sabato. He is the director for the Center of Politics at the University of Virginia. Larry, great to see you. So these are just the first signs of what we knew was going to be a lot of fallout from that Supreme Court decision. How big of a political game changer is all of this?
Gotti, I think in the long term, or maybe the medium term, meaning not just this year, but 2028 and 2030, it's significant. I'd call it a modest to a more substantial game changer. For 2026, we're so far along in many of the states in terms of holding primaries, filing dates that have already passed, and other things that I think it will have less impact on this particular year. So if everybody does what Louisiana's done, I guess the governor can just arbitrarily say, oh, that election we're in the middle of, forget about that. Let's go on. We'll do it some other way.
Yeah, there's so much flexing of political might, and we'll see how long those flexes can hold legally. The Supreme Court, though, I mean, they voted 6-3 on this case. The conservative justices basically wrote that race should not play a part in decision-making, and yet there is a racial component baked into all this already, right? And that's significant.
Of course, and there has been a racial component in all of this since blacks were given, finally, the right to vote, at least in many states, with the Voting Rights Act in 1965. What's interesting here, though, is that sometimes you think a decision will produce one particular effect, and over time it produces another effect. Let me explain what I mean. A lot of people are saying today this is really going to cut into the number of blacks and Hispanics too, representing constituents, heavily minority constituents, and that will be true in some places. However, those constituents have to go someplace. They're going to be sliced into maybe 3 or 4 districts surrounding. Most of them, probably the vast majority, will be Democratic votes. Well, what will that do to the districts they land in? Probably make them more competitive, which means that Democrats might be elected. Granted, maybe not black Democrats or Hispanic Democrats. They may be white Democrats. But, you know, today in the parties, almost everybody votes alike.
Yeah, it is, you know, again, this sands shift so quickly in all of this, you don't know what's an advantage and what's a disadvantage to the people that are, you know, pulling all the levers. Larry, always great to see you. Thank you so very much. And don't go anywhere. Up next, a look at a wild body cam video of the moment a house explodes and officers scramble to rescue a family inside. Plus, the war with Iran is putting major pressure at the pump and sending gas prices soaring. What you need to know about all of that. And also, we're trying a little something new here. If you see this little QR code, anytime it pops up right there. Sometimes it's on the bottom, sometimes it's right there behind me. Just scan through. Feel free. Chat with us during the breaks. That's going to take you behind the scenes, streaming on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. Swing by and let us know your thoughts all hour long, right here. All right. Now, let the chat continue. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Crazy Rider. No, how gerrymander works. I mean, the redistricting is so difficult to wrap your mind around on the smallest local level, let alone like trying to predict where things are going to go with all these different states, with all these different governors and all these different legislatures in play. It's pretty wild. Okay, what else? Hi, I'm working on it. Chiron, great to see you. Always cold in the 6. I hope it's a warm day today. What else is happening? Somebody was asking about, what was it? Tobin, you had a question, and I forgot what it was. Let's see. Yeah, he's suing himself. Not really, but he is suing the old company that he helped start because they're a for-profit, and he wants them to be a nonprofit like he started. So he's saying that he's going to give all the money from suing them to the company. It's a lot. It's interesting, and it's important, and there's a lot of nuance there, and we could do 15 hours on it every day, but there aren't that many hours.
1 minute.
So if you get a chance, look into it. It's a case that is going to go down in history regardless of how it goes. Let's see. Jonathan, thank you so very much. iRobot later. Is that the Will Smith one? That is, right? I'm feeling pretty good. Always cold. Michelle, thanks for following. 30 seconds. Guys, just hold up a little bit longer. There's a very special appearance. Maybe a little Schwartz, about this big, is gonna make a little cameo. All right, here we go. Oh, who was an ass?
5, 4.
Ronald Reagan was attempted. Hey, welcome back. Here are some other headlines we are watching tonight. Today, the House voted to end a record-breaking 75-day shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. Lawmakers approved a Senate-passed bill that would fund most of DHS except for ICE and Border Patrol, and President Trump signed that measure into law just a couple of hours ago. And President Trump is pulling his nominee for Surgeon General. Dr. Casey Means will now be replaced by Dr. Nicole Saphier after Republican opposition stalled her confirmation. Saphier is a radiologist and regularly appeared on Fox News as a medical contributor. And Camp Mystic has decided to withdraw its application for a camp license this summer, meaning it will not reopen this season. That decision comes after the first public hearing over last summer's floods that killed 28 people, including kids at that camp. Victims' families and state leaders have pressured the camp to stay closed after the owners originally planned to reopen in May. And LIV Golf is establishing a new independent board today with the future of the league up in the air. And it comes after Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, the league's primary financier, announcing that it's cutting ties after the 2026 season wraps. The board will be looking at several new tournament models and bringing in new investors to find a way to survive. And King Charles and Queen Camilla wrapped up their U.S. visit with a trip to Virginia. They went to a town very appropriately named Front Royal, and they attended a party for America's upcoming 250th anniversary. Then they returned to England, concluding their trip that has been charged with all kinds of geopolitical tension. Yesterday, Trump said his relationship with the king could help mend rocky ties with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. And turning now to rising gas prices across the country. While the national average is just over $4 out here in California, a gallon now costs over $6. And if that sounds super high, you are not wrong. It's actually just below the state's record average from 2022. Here's how drivers are reacting to this sticker shock.
I only really drive like once or twice a week now because of the gas, and that's only to like farther destinations.
$40-50 to fill my tank, but now it's to empty, it's $80 to $90. Only down to one car, and my wife also works, so can't even fathom having two cars to pay for gas.
Figured I'd, save by using public transportation and buying an electric bike. I just got a monthly bus pass.
It's easy, it's only $2, and it's way cheaper than gas, with gas being so expensive right now.
Bike, bike, bike. President Trump is saying that gas prices will not go down until the war in Iran is over, and Brian Chung has more.
Hey there, Gotti. Well, if you tried to fill up at the pump today, you probably felt this already. National averages are on the rise. $4.30, that is what AAA says is the national average. That's up 7 cents just since yesterday. I should remind people that when we talk about gas price changes day to day, the national average usually changes by a fraction of 1 cent. So in one day to see it rise by 7 cents is certainly remarkable. All of this has to do with negative headlines around negotiations between the U.S. and Iran as of late. Oil markets have been pricing barrels of oil higher, in fact, flirting with all-time highs, and that has led to higher prices at the pump. All 50 states, according to Patrick DeHaan at Gas Buddy, saw prices increase since yesterday, and the same analyst says that the next stop nationally is likely to be $4.50. And in California, we saw the state average breach $6 a gallon. In fact, one person telling me they saw $7 a gallon in their neighborhood in California. This is all increasing the pressure for people financially, as the recent economic data that we've seen has shown the U.S. economy on a decent footing. U.S. GDP at 2% in the first quarter of this year. That is a vast improvement from the just 0.5% we saw recorded in the last 3 months of last year. But again, all of this when it comes to gas prices has to do with the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil travels through. There's been effectively no passage, despite the optimism just a few weeks ago that it could reopen. Again, with negotiations breaking down, it seems like there will be no further passage, at least substantially higher from here, of ships through that area, which means that oil prices and gas prices at the pump could continue to rise. Gotti?
Brian Chung, thank you so much. And now to some good news tonight. After 7 years on the ground, the first direct flight from Miami to Caracas, Venezuela, touched down. That makes a major turning point between those two countries. For passengers on board, it's more than just a flight. It is a long-awaited reunion and a first step at what comes next. NBC's George Solis has more.
Moments after touching down in Caracas, the captain of this American Airlines flight leaned out the cockpit to wave the Venezuelan flag, signaling the first direct arrival from the U.S. in 7 years. Passengers stopping for selfies on the stairs, descending to a crowd waiting on the tarmac. The journey began just after 10 a.m. in Miami, where emotional passengers lined up at the gate.
The last time I was here in Venezuela was 18 years ago. And I'm very excited to go and see the family.
The flight crew opening the windows to wave the U.S. and Venezuelan flags, then taxiing through a water cannon salute before takeoff. This flight, the most visible sign yet of a rapid diplomatic thaw following the ouster of Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro, in January. The U.S. ban on direct air travel, in place since 2019, was officially lifted just 2 weeks ago. In South Florida, the heart of the Venezuelan diaspora, some are still cautious. Venezuela remains under the control of acting President Delcy Rodriguez, who served as Maduro's right hand for years, and hundreds of political prisoners remain behind bars.
Things that still need to happen for me to feel safe to go Venezuela.
Despite the uncertainty, for those landing in Caracas today, 7 years of grounded hopes finally coming to a historic end.
I'm taking my family back, my kids back, my grandkids back. So it's a historic day.
While the U.S. has reopened an embassy in Caracas, there's still no consulate.
George Solis, thank you for that. And coming up, police responding to a domestic call get caught in a house explosion. The entire thing caught on camera. What we're learning next.
Two and a half here.
All right.
Position B is nuts.
Okie dokie. Position B, how much? We got 2.5?
2.5.
Okay, we got 2.5, guys. I wish happy news is more than horrible. Hey, we got good news coming up. My favorite part of the news is going to be in about, I don't know. We got Sal Khan coming up. I'm stoked to talk about the future of education with Sal Khan. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Khan Academy, but he is going to be on the show next, and we are going to have a conversation about this new initiative that he's got. Go get your college degree in AI for less than $10K, and you can do it remotely. Pretty awesome. So he's going to talk to us about that, and then I ask him, like, what do you think about critical thinking and AI? And are you concerned that AI might erode some of our critical thinking? He has a really, really fascinating answer. And then Kira, my daughter, had a very big day at school today, so I'm going to try to sneak her on the news. 90. Let's see. Flip. Oh, hi. How's it going? SML. Yes. Just stop. No spamming. I feel like this is like Dora the Explorer, like swiper, no swiping. No spamming allowed, guys. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Philip, for sharing the stream. Commander Spock. Yep. Shenzhen visit. Wait, should we visit there? We would love to. That'd be amazing. BlizzCon is later this year. Yeah, right. I'm not going to go to that. You want me to freaking relapse into World of Warcraft and just not do my job ever? And probably lose my wife because she doesn't know me in my World of Warcraft days? That would not be a good look. Let's see. Oh, Rich, how's it going? How are you, man? Great to see you. Long time no see. Broke my ankle, so
30.
I've been pretty lame recently, and it wasn't even doing anything cool. You'd be very disappointed. We're standing? Yeah. All right, we're standing, guys. Try to spot the foot. Try to spot the messed up ankle. 10 seconds. Here we go. We got some head.
4, 3.
And now to New York, where a house exploded just as the NYPD knocked on the door. That whole thing was caught on camera, and Emily Akeda has this one.
Tonight, heart-stopping video of a New York City house explosion. NYPD officers seen here trying to enter this home, responding to a domestic dispute before the unthinkable, violently thrown off their feet and into the fence.
Yo! You all right?
Injured officers then rushing back into the chaos to pull crying young children from the rubble. The blast sparked a 5-alarm inferno that spread throughout the 3-family residence, according to officials. Angelica Castellar lived on the top floor with her kids.
I thought we got bombed. I looked in the kitchen area. I saw my microwave. The flames was literally rising up.
Ladder trucks reaching into neighboring homes as 300 first responders battled extremely dangerous conditions. Police have been responding to a 911 call shortly before 3 a.m. involving an intoxicated man armed with a knife. Investigators say 50-year-old en route Parasram forced his way into the basement where relatives lived.
They said he threatened them with a knife and was carrying 2 garbage bags containing yellow canisters with contents unknown.
Sources familiar with the matter say investigators are looking into whether the suspect doused the house with gasoline and ignited the fire. A neighboring home security camera capturing another view. First, you hear the blast before officers are seen scrambling to safety. Remarkably, all of the residents in the now incinerated home made it out.
I want to be clear. We got very lucky today. All right, this could have turned out really differently.
Yeah, it sure could have. Emily Akeda, thank you so much. And coming up in the future of everything, a popular digital tutoring service that you probably have heard about is going to start offering a bachelor's degree in AI. We are talking to the founder of Khan Academy. All about it coming up next. All right. How many?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Cool. WNBC is my home station. Oh, Rich, have fun in class. That's crazy about your cat. Mine is similarly lame. Like I just stepped wrong in some grass and it fell. Like I fell. I fetaled up and screamed and broke my navicular. So I was thinking about changing my handle to navicular, but I don't think that would be a good idea. Let's see. There's degrees in AI now, yes. And Khan Academy is offering one for under 10K, and it's remote, and you can kind of go at your own pace. Homeschooled kid here, Khan Academy was awesome. No way. I did homeschool for half a semester in 6th grade. And yeah, Khan Academy, like, to be honest, I've done some of their stuff when Kira is old enough and Rio are old enough to need some extra tutoring. I will be sitting with them, guiding them through Khan Academy and learning alongside them. They'll probably start asking questions that I can't answer in 2nd grade. So very excited about being like Billy Madison with my children with Khan Academy. They should make a reboot of Billy Madison, but with AI, you know?
30.
Let's see. Yeah, hi, that is so true. Except for she doesn't know about my polytopia. But I only do like the daily challenge. It's only like 15 minutes. Locks me in. Negative aura. That's true. Am I gonna play WoW ever again?
10.
Probably not. All right, 10 seconds. This segment is awesome. Ready? Here we go. And in tonight's Future of Everything, tonight we're talking about the future of education. And for those of us that are older than Gen Z, when it comes to studying, way back in the day, maybe we were lucky if we had a family member to help you out, somebody you can call, maybe a tutor. But for the younger generation, hearing the last name Khan instantly rings a bell, because Khan Academy is one of the most powerful study buddies ever built. It is a nonprofit that has changed so much of education as we know it today through their endless free learning videos, calculus to SAT prep, and now they are taking things to the next level. It is this new joint project called the Khan TED Institute, where college students can get a bachelor's degree in AI for less than you might spend on a used car. Now, Sal Khan, founder and CEO of Khan Academy, joins us tonight. Sal, I've followed your work for so long. You've gone from being the cousin in your family that everyone would turn to for tutoring to building this teaching system that has been used by millions all across the planet. I know this has always been a dream, this idea of a 4-year degree now made accessible as possible. But it's kind of ironic, or at least poetic, that the first one out of the gate is for an AI degree, right?
Yeah, this is something we've been thinking about for a very long time, even before generative AI became a big thing. Obviously, the cost of education was getting prohibitive for a lot of people. People started questioning the return on that. It wasn't accessible to a lot of folks. And then enters generative AI, and there's real uncertainty about what are the skills you need and the jobs. And so we realize that this is the time, if we're serious about our broader mission, which is to make education as accessible as possible, and that's not just the learning, but also access to opportunity, we should try to work with, first of all, employers to figure out what are those skills, how can we validate them, and then can we create high-scale, low-cost pathways that can actually prepare people those skills and give them opportunities.
Yeah, it's such a huge undertaking, and one that will have some meaningful impacts everywhere. And I know you've been a big advocate for educators all around, and you've said that this institution will complement traditional higher education, not replace it. But I got to tell you, just speaking for myself, like if I was graduating high school right now and I saw this and I saw the world of AI just developing around me, I might not have gone to NMSU. Like, I might have saved thousands of dollars of debt. Do you think that this could replace some of higher ed?
I think it depends what people are looking for. I do think there's going to be some folks who maybe want to do the straightest path into being an entrepreneur or getting into the workforce, and this might make sense for them. But my oldest son is 17. I'm expecting him to go to a traditional 4-year college. But even there, I'm not sure whether the skills he's going to learn are going to directly translate to work, especially in this AI world. So this might be a fun double major for him to do. And our goal is to actually make the whole degree, not just annual tuition, the whole degree well under $10,000. And we want to, this is a mission-driven, nonprofit focused venture, so that we want to make this as accessible to as many people as possible. So we see it people who want to go straight and get their bachelor's, but also folks who want to do a second bachelor's, people like myself and yourself. I might do it myself to make sure that I develop those skills. And to be clear, the skills we're developing, so some of it will be the core academic skills that we're used to, the statistics, the history, the writing, the math. A lot of it will be developing the types of portfolios of work that people are going to have to do in an AI future, whether it's vibe coding or doing research analysis, even art with AI. But a big emphasis here is our skills that I think have always been super important, and I think will be even more important and durable in an AI world. And those are skills of communication, collaboration, listening, creativity. And we think that partially using AI, partially using peer-to-peer frameworks, we can not only give people practice with that, but actually create signals for that that employers and others will value.
And speaking of that, I mean, the curriculum, and I know that AI is just the beginning. I can't wait to see what you guys do next. But the curriculum here, like, is it sticky? Is it, if you're lacking some of the peer-to-peer stuff that you traditionally see, and I know that you have a way of addressing that, but, like, how do you make the knowledge stick?
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't think this program is going to be for everyone. When we talk to employers, And we've launched this initiative with some top corporations in the world, folks like Google, Microsoft, McKinsey, Bain, Accenture, Replit. What they say is they want people who know how to learn, who are independent learners, but also have these other skills. And so this program, some parts are going to be self-directed, leveraging Khan Academy. We have a sister nonprofit called schoolhouse.world, where we already have high school students who are using it to certify their knowledge, do peer-to-peer tutoring, and also do things like dialogues where you're paired with students who disagree with you on an important issue and you learn to listen and give each other feedback. So we're imagining scaling that for adults, to college students and beyond, where even though it's an online program, you will be paired online into small groups on Zoom with students to do projects together, to give each other feedback on their communication, their collaboration, so that you really get as holistic of an experience as possible.
And I've had the privilege of seeing some of that working in some of the high schools that are using what you just described there, and it is pretty remarkable. Not to widen the scope too much here, but I have been wanting to ask you this for a very long time. And the question is, are you concerned about AI leading to some loss in how we think critically? Like, what does the future of education look like to you?
Yeah, I've sometimes been billed as an AI optimist, but I'm actually pretty worried on a whole bunch of dimensions. I think the place that I'm most worried actually is a lot of the economic dislocation that might be happening. We're already seeing self-driving cars, robotics, call center workers, software engineering is changing dramatically. It's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen, but there's a reasonable possibility that we start seeing mass layoffs in a lot of white collar work. So part of this is, one, to help bridge that. I don't think it's going to be us by ourselves, but if we can at least help people reskill and put them into new opportunities and scale that, that's going to help. And also, I think there's real risk, and it is happening. If you go to any college student, any college campus, kids are cheating with AI. They're doing the cognitive offloading, but it's not necessarily the AI that's doing it. It's the bad use cases of AI. So I think we have to clamp down on that. But there's other use cases of AI that can actually build critical thinking.
Yeah, a lot of potential, a lot of things to be concerned about all at the same time. Sal Khan, I just get a kick out of the idea of your son going to any university and then looking over and being like, oh, you're using Khan Academy over there, which is going to happen over and over again. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And still to come, how a church is taking donated food and turning it into a culinary experience for the community. But first, you got to see this.
This person is a leader. A round of applause to Kira.
Yeah! Oh, weird. How did that video accidentally end up here? Yes, that is 4-year-old Kira Schwartz winning the Academic Excellence Award in her TK class today. I know every parent is biased about their kid. I could not be more proud, and yet I know the future that she and all the other kids her age face will be one that is so different from our own. For now, I just love that she's learning how to read and write the old-fashioned way with books and pencils and crayons, and I pray that whatever comes down the road fills her with the same love of learning and critical thinking that we see blossoming right there every day. Love you, Kira.
What's up, guys? All right, muted. Yeah, that's little Kiki. She's doing so, like, she's 4 and she's writing us little notes. She's like phonetically spelling stuff. She loves learning so much, and she knows that like books with just words are just a whole world that she is almost having access to. It's God, what was she saying the other day when I was reading something to her, and she goes, "Dada, I can see, something amazing is happening. I can see everything that you're saying, and I can see it in my mind, and I can see this in my mind." And I was like, "That's reading. You're about to embark on this incredible journey," and it happens like 4, 5, 6, 7. That is one of the most critical moments of our entire existence. and she's experiencing it today, and it's just so awesome to watch. So very cool show today. Sal Khan, Kiki, we got it all. Anyway, yeah, Flip, that is my daughter, and she is the future, and that is why I'm an optimist. At one point, her little brother Rio, all the other kids that are making sense of this crazy world, they're gonna be in charge, not us, and they're gonna fix things, and we just gotta do whatever we can to support them. Ken, thanks so very much. Yeah, I do, every single day. Cold in the 6? Yes. Thanks, Campbell. Thank you guys so very much. Anyway, really appreciate you guys watching today, especially today. Today was a very meaningful day. And yeah, we're going to continue to do this every single day as long as we possibly can. We got our community going here in the chat. We got TikTok, we got YouTube, we got Twitch. I think we're going to expand out a little bit more this week, and we'll see how that goes. And this two-way street is really something. It allows us to see the news the way you guys see it. Feel free to keep those questions coming. And yeah, Dale, totally right. Their imagination, yeah, exactly.
And finally tonight, a story about the best of us told through dinner at this church in New York. One program is feeding a community with donated food that would otherwise go to waste, and they are turning it into a multi-course dining experience, free for anyone who wants to visit. NBC's Vicky Nguyen has this story.
Anybody like some water?
At Refectorio Harlem, a multi-course gourmet dinner served 2 nights a week. But this is no ordinary restaurant. Refectorio doesn't take reservations, and the meals are free.
Welcome to Free Food Harlem.
General Manager Matt Sherman says this is about much more than food.
It's about making sure that people have a dignified dining experience, which also just might mean like they get to eat with other people and sit down and meet somebody new, feel inspired, learn that their past is like what can actually be something that they can bring to the community and offer.
Jimmy Morton has been coming for a year, just for the company.
It's better than staying home. You're getting out, you're meeting people, you're doing things that give you a chance to meet people throughout the community.
World-renowned Italian chef Massimo Bottura started Refectorio in Milan to combat food insecurity and waste. But this location has transformed the program, working with organizations including Free Food Harlem to help feed the hungry, and Exodus, which helps people rebuild their lives after serving time.
Standard marinade.
Chef Michael Lesser runs the kitchen and trains Exodus members.
I'm like their coach. It's like, okay, well, let's get you back in the game. What did you learn? You know, what do you need to do? How do you level yourself up so you feel confident in the kitchen? So that when we send them out at the end of the program for their interviews, they're going to be ready.
Among his students, Louis Aponte.
What is the hardest part of coming out of being incarcerated?
Second chances, unfortunately. And thanks to programs like Exodus, they gave me a second chance. They made me believe in myself.
The day we visited, Aponte and the team prepared a 4-course meal that included a beet salad and miso chicken with noodles. Every dish made with fresh, high-quality food donated by local chefs, restaurants, and suppliers. Beyond the food, Refectorio is a safe haven for community and restoring dignity, a key part of the mission, according to Executive Director Karen Roth.
Why is the dignity component so important in what you do?
We really want everyone to feel their humanity and feel that they matter. When you treat people with dignity, you bring out the best qualities in them.
Volunteers set up the dining room with special touches, from freshly donated flowers to menus on every table, with service found in any fine dining restaurant.
It's just making people feel human who have like, some of them have nothing,
Some of them have a lot and still come here.
Regulars like Corey Townsend and Vivian Youngblood say this place gives them a sense of belonging.
You have somewhere to come to socialize with other people, make friends.
When we sit down, I like the family setting.
Growing this group of friends and family, one meal at a time.
Looks delicious too. Vicki Nguyen, thank you so much. That's going to do it for us tonight. I'm Gotti Schwartz. We'll see you here tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned to NBC News Now.